Let's begin with Pluto, a god whose very name chilled the Romans. He was the embodiment of the unknown, the ruler of the shadowy realm beneath the earth. To the Romans, Pluto was not just a figure of fear but also of awe, a mysterious force who governed the fate of souls after death. Born to Saturn, king of the Titans, Pluto's life started in darkness, literally. His first moments were shrouded in secrecy, hidden from the world above. The ancient myths tell us that even as a newborn, Pluto was destined for a life apart from the light, a fate that would shape his very nature. Saturn, fearing a prophecy that his children would overthrow him, swallowed each newborn whole. This act was both desperate and brutal, a father's attempt to cling to power no matter the cost. The image of Saturn devouring his own offspring became a symbol of the cycle of fear and violence that haunted the ancient gods. Ops, his wife, managed to save the youngest, Jupiter, by tricking Saturn with a swaddled rock. Her cleverness and courage changed the fate of the gods. While Pluto and his siblings remained trapped, Jupiter was spirited away, growing up in secret, destined to become their liberator. Jupiter grew up, returned, and forced Saturn to disgorge his siblings, Neptune, Juno, Ceres, Vesta, and Pluto. Imagine the chaos and relief as the gods emerged, fully formed, from the darkness of their father's prison. This moment marked the beginning of a new era for the cosmos. Imagine emerging fully grown from your father's stomach. No wonder Pluto was a somber soul. He was reborn into a world that had already betrayed him, carrying the weight of that trauma into adulthood. This experience set him apart from his siblings, making him more reserved and introspective. The siblings, led by Jupiter, waged war against Saturn and the Titans, a cosmic clash called the Titanomachy. For 10 long years the heavens shook with the fury of battle. The gods fought not just for power but for their very existence, forging unbreakable bonds in the fires of war. After a decade, the new gods triumphed, Saturn was overthrown, and the universe was theirs. The world as the Romans knew it was born from this victory, a world ruled by order but haunted by the memory of chaos. Pluto, one of the principal victors, stood ready to claim his share of creation. He was no longer just a survivor, he was a conqueror, a god with a destiny of his own. The time had come for the gods to decide their domains, to shape the world according to their will. His early ordeal, swallowed, confined, and reborn, shaped his affinity for darkness and silence. Pluto found comfort in the quiet places, in the shadows where others feared to tread. He became the master of the Underworld, a realm as mysterious as the god himself. He wasn't outgoing, he was reflective, marked by the shadows of his beginnings. While his siblings reveled in the light, Pluto embraced the depths, finding wisdom in solitude and power in the unseen. The new gods prepared to divide the cosmos, each to rule a domain. The fate of the world hung in the balance as they cast lots, their choices echoing through eternity. Pluto's journey from darkness to power was just beginning. His story would shape not only the underworld but the destiny of gods and mortals alike. With the Titans defeated, the world stood on the edge of a new era. The old order had fallen, and the universe itself awaited its new rulers. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very stones of the earth held their breath. Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, brothers bound by fate and ambition, now faced the monumental task of dividing the universe among themselves. Each knew that their choice would shape the destiny of gods and mortals alike. Rather than descend into endless squabbling and rivalry, they chose to draw lots, a divine game of chance that would decide their realms. It was a moment of tension, as each brother reached into the bowl, their futures hanging in the balance. Jupiter drew the heavens, ascending to become king of gods and mortals. The sky, with its rolling thunder and endless stars, became his domain, a place of power, majesty, and watchful authority. Neptune claimed the seas, taking command of the vast oceans, rivers, and all waters that flowed across the earth. His realm was wild and unpredictable, filled with both beauty and danger. Pluto drew the underworld, the shadowy realm beneath the earth, home to the dead and the secrets of the afterlife. It was a place of mystery, silence, and eternal night. While his brothers enjoyed the open sky and the restless sea, Pluto inherited a kingdom of silence and shadows. His was a realm few would willingly visit, yet it was as vital as the air or the water. It wasn't glamorous, but it was vast and essential, a domain that stretched beneath every mountain and city, touching the roots of the world itself. Pluto accepted his fate without protest, embracing his role with stoic resolve. He understood that every kingdom, even one of shadows, needed a ruler who would not flinch from duty. This division set the eternal roles. Jupiter governed the heavens, Neptune surged through the seas, and Pluto presided over the dead. Each brother's realm was unique, yet together they formed the balance of the cosmos. Pluto's kingdom was one of order, ensuring that souls stayed where they belonged, and that the cycle of life and death remained unbroken. Someone had to keep the balance between life and death, to guard the boundary that separated the living from the departed. Pluto's serious and thoughtful nature made him uniquely suited for this somber duty. He watched over the dead with unwavering vigilance, never seeking glory, only justice. He became the unseen king, ruling the silent majority, those who had passed beyond the world of the living. And so the cosmos was now in the hands of the new gods, each brother watching over his realm, their destinies forever intertwined in the fabric of the universe. Pluto's underworld, or Hades, wasn't a place of fire, but a misty, neutral realm for all souls. Deep beneath the earth, sunlight never reached. Silence reigned, broken only by the howls of Cerberus, his three-headed hound. Pluto ruled over the dead, not as their killer but as their keeper. His realm was organized. Asphodel for ordinary souls, Tartarus for the wicked, Elysium for heroes. Souls crossed the river Styx with Charon, the ferryman, if they had a coin for passage. Pluto rarely left his domain, preferring solitude to the company of Olympians. He was feared not for cruelty, but for representing the inescapable end. His name was often avoided, replaced with titles like Dispater. Pluto's rule ensured the cycle of life and death continued undisturbed. Pluto's domain wasn't just gloom, he was also the god of wealth. All precious metals and gems mined from the earth were his, making him the richest of the gods. People prayed to him for agricultural bounty and mineral riches, not just out of fear. Crops grew from the earth, Pluto's realm, linking him to fertility as well as death. He oversaw the judgment of souls, delegating to wise judges like Minos and Rhadamanthus. The wicked faced Tartarus, the virtuous Elysium, the ordinary Asphodel. Pluto's justice was stern, but fair, never capricious. He wasn't a tormentor but a necessary administrator of cosmic law. His dual role, Lord of the Dead and Master of Hidden Wealth, made him complex and respected. Pluto's underworld was a place of reckoning, not just despair. Pluto's most famous story is the dramatic abduction of Proserpina, the beloved daughter of Jupiter, king of the gods, and Ceres, the nurturing goddess of agriculture. This myth, rich with emotion and symbolism, has echoed through centuries as a tale of love, loss, and the changing of the seasons. Proserpina, a radiant maiden who embodied the spirit of spring, wandered through sunlit meadows, joyfully gathering wildflowers. Her laughter filled the air, and the earth seemed to bloom wherever she stepped, a living symbol of renewal and hope. Suddenly, the ground trembled and split apart. From the depths of the earth, Pluto, god of the underworld, surged forth in his shadowy chariot. In a moment of fate, he seized Proserpina and swept her away to his dark realm below, leaving the world above in shock. Ceres, heartbroken and desperate, roamed the earth in search of her lost daughter. In her grief, she neglected her divine duties, and the once fertile fields turned barren. Crops failed, flowers wilted, and famine spread across the land, plunging mortals into despair. The gods of Olympus pleaded with Ceres to restore life to the earth, but she refused to relent. Her sorrow was too great, and she vowed not to let the world flourish until Proserpina was returned to her. At last, Jupiter, moved by the suffering of both mortals and gods, intervened. He commanded Mercury, the swift messenger, to journey to the underworld and demand Proserpina's release from Pluto's grasp. Pluto, unable to refuse the king of the gods, reluctantly agreed to let Proserpina go. Yet, before she departed, he cunningly offered her a handful of glistening pomegranate seeds, a gesture that would change her fate forever. Unaware of the consequences, Proserpina tasted the fruit of the underworld. By eating those seeds, she became bound to Pluto's realm, her destiny forever altered by this simple act. This clever trick ensured that Proserpina could never fully escape the underworld. She would always be tied to Pluto, her heart divided between two worlds. The crisis forced the gods to reach a difficult compromise. Proserpina would spend part of the year with her mother above, and part with Pluto below. Thus, the fate of the seasons was sealed. When Proserpina returned to Ceres, the earth blossomed in joy. When she descended to the underworld, winter's chill returned. Pluto's longing for a queen forever changed the world above and below, weaving a timeless story of love, loss, and the eternal cycle of nature. Proserpina's taste of pomegranate seeds sealed her fate. She would spend part of each year with Pluto in the underworld, and the rest with Ceres above. When Proserpina descended, Ceres mourned, autumn and winter gripped the earth. When she returned, Ceres rejoiced, spring and summer blossomed. This myth explained the changing seasons, tying nature's cycles to the gods' emotions. Proserpina became a symbol of rebirth, bridging life and death. Her journey marked the rhythm of growth and decay. Pluto's actions, though harsh, established a vital balance. The story is more than abduction, it's an allegory for renewal and loss. Proserpina, queen of the underworld, was also the harbinger of spring. The world awaited her return each year, sharing in the gods' joy and sorrow. The myth endures as a poetic explanation for nature's eternal cycle. Pluto's authority was symbolized by powerful items. His helm of invisibility, forged by the Cyclops, let him move unseen through any realm. The bident, his two-pronged scepter, marked his rule over the dead and the earth's depths. Cerberus, his monstrous three-headed dog, guarded the underworld's gates. No soul escaped. Only legendary heroes ever bested Cerberus, and even then, rarely. Pluto's chariot, drawn by 4 black horses, was his vehicle for rare journeys above. His ebony throne embodied his somber power. These possessions weren't just tools, they were extensions of his dominion. Each reinforced his image as a stern, remote ruler. Pluto's realm was secure, his authority absolute. Pluto wasn't evil, just unyielding and just. He maintained order in the afterlife, ensuring the boundary between living and dead was never breached. His punishments, like those of Sisyphus or Tantalus, were reserved for the gravest offenders. Pluto's severity was necessary. Chaos would reign if souls wandered freely. Yet he was fair, upholding fate and the judgments of his realm. He rarely meddled in mortal affairs, preferring isolation to Olympus's drama. Pluto was the great equalizer. Death came for all, regardless of status. His role was daunting but essential to cosmic balance. He was respected, if not loved, for his unwavering justice. Pluto's character was shaped by his dark, silent kingdom. He embodied the inevitability and impartiality of death. Pluto's worship was solemn, focused on appeasement and respect. Sacrifices were made at night, often at caves or fissures, entrances to his realm. His name was rarely spoken, euphemisms like the Rich One were used instead. Pluto inspired awe and fear, representing the ultimate unknown. His myths, especially Proserpina's, have echoed through art and literature for centuries. Even the distant planet Pluto bears his name, a fitting tribute to the god of the unseen. Pluto's legacy is a reminder of humanity's struggle to understand death and the afterlife. He taught the ancients about cycles, endings, and justice beyond life. Though the Roman Empire is gone, Pluto's shadow endures, a symbol of darkness, wealth, and fate. His story remains a timeless meditation on the mysteries that await us all.